All right, there he is, locked
What's
and loaded.
happening?
How you feeling?
I'm good, man. I'm grinding, working, trying to figure out life. Looking
Did you
forward
get
to a
a
weekend.
greatest hits of Casey and the Sunshine Band for your daughter?
Oh man, my daughter is absolutely in love with that album, with that music. It makes her happy. I am now a huge Casey and the Sunshine Band fan.
Now,
Um, I
now,
always have been, but
now.
it gets played a lot more now.
Okay. It's that music is so kids love Casey and the Sunshine Band. That's the
It,
way. I like it. Shake your booty. I mean,
oh
it's just
man,
they have so many songs that are so catchy, right? Because Casey just, highly his own, by the way. I don't know if you know that.
no, I did not know that.
You did not know that he's highly his own?
How am I supposed to know that, bro? I would go see Casey and the Sunshine Band perform whenever there's a concert. You let me know. We're gonna go.
You've never been to one?
No,
Oh, I'm gonna take you and the wife to the next one. Okay.
bro.
Okay.
Like I'm totally
Well, no,
into Casey.
you, the wife, and the daughter.
Yeah, no, my daughter's got to go. I would say
Right?
Casey and
Gotta
the
go.
Sunshine Band are her favorite, is her favorite artist. She's singing some song all the time. And the truth is, I don't even know how she discovered it. I just heard her singing the music at home. And I was like, how do you know that song? I'm assuming it's daycare. Like it's the school that she's at, but she
Okay.
knows them. She loves them. She sings them. So it's all every
Wait a
day.
minute. Hold on a second. Your daughter goes to a daycare where they're saying shake, 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 shake your booty. Oh, DeSantis is gonna be pissed.
She says shake your booty all the time.
That's not the way he likes it.
I think as long as you're going to the right selected bathroom, your bathroom of birth gender. I don't know. I don't even know. Listen, this dude is probably going to be our next president. Let's be respectful.
Oh, don't remind me. Don't remind me of that. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's get to a little football.
Yes,
Because
sir.
I was tripping out with you as I usually do, of course, because you have this weird outlook sometimes. And so I was listening to you and Poop go at it. And for those of you that don't know, by the way, on SI at alldolphins.com, Poopart and Omar, who are both on this channel, but obviously on their own there at SI, they have a little back and forth video that they do. They do a little podcast. What is it, once a week?
Yes,
Or once every 2 weeks? Or what is it? Once a week?
Once a week. We do once a
Okay.
week podcast.
You can check it out there. So I was watching it, support you guys, and then laughing because you are so hooked with blocking and tight ends. Okay. So I wanted to explain to you what I think is happening with the Dolphin offense. Okay. Last year, they took a stab at a young man, a young tight end. Do you know what his name is? And they stashed him on the squad. Not on the practice squad, on the active roster, because they could have put him on the
Connor Tanner. I can never remember which one of his first names is last name.
Right. So
yes,
they
tore up training camp for about 10 days.
Right. And then in the draft, they got a little higgy with it, right? They were getting a little higgy.
Yeah.
So they went and got Elijah Higgins. So they're getting higgy with it. And so then you and Poop and you're all, well, if Gesicki wasn't blocking and Higgins isn't a blocker, which, by the way, of course, all my NFL people tell me he's not a blocker. But
Higgins is not a blocker?
No, he's not a blocker. And so what's it called? So those guys, this is what I think is going on, okay? I think Smythe and Salbert are your blocking inline tight ends, and I think he's adding speed all over, so he's going to have an off-the-line tight end. Now, this is an off-the-line tight end experiment. It's not a sure thing it's going to work because we don't know if either getting higgy with it or if the youngster from last year is going to actually even make the roster. But if one of them actually makes the roster, you're going to have your inline tight end, you're going to have your offline tight end, and then what he
Mhm.
field with A Chain is he added another speed demon out of the backfield. Because I'm thinking, brother, you can run a 4 set with Waddle, Hill, A Chain, and Mostert coming out of the backfield, and there's not a defense in the world that is going to be able to stay with all 4 guys out there on
Okay.
the. Also thinking at times you can go more base and then have an offline tight end, and it might be one of those 2 young cats
Tanner
creating a
Connor or
right
Elijah Higgins. Yes.
or
I
getting Higgy. And the thing
I,
is,
I
the experiment doesn't go with Gesicki because you're being paid $11 million. You can try this experiment with these 2 guys because it doesn't cost you anything
yeah.
on the cap. Those guys are really cheap. So to me, that's what's happening here. This is an experiment that McDaniel's trying to do and trying to add another dimension to the
He
offense by having a speed guy offline tight end. Your
he
thoughts?
said as much in his post-draft press conference, and these wide receiver to tight end conversions is something that he's intrigued by, something that he wants to do.
Right.
Um, Tanner Connor was the first version of it, and we all don't know how that panned out and turned out. I can honestly tell
Right.
you,
Too
huh?
early. Too
Yeah,
early to
I
say
can tell
anything.
you, I don't know if it was a set of plays that they were doing or the fact that Tanner Connor was just destroying the second team linebackers, most of which was Channing Tindall. But I watched for a period of about a week and a half. Tanner Connor, I had to learn his name. Everybody who knows me knows I generally don't learn undrafted rookies' names until they actually start to make plays. Once
Well,
I have to,
we've already documented on this show that memory and you aren't necessarily hand in hand. But go ahead.
so yeah, I got too much on my plate. Like I don't need to learn an undrafted rookie's name or look him up. I have looked up this year's undrafted rookie class, and primarily I've looked them up because I hoped and was certain that the Dolphins would be aggressive when they have only 4 draft picks and would feast on the undrafted market. They got the money. They can offer. Steve Ross doesn't care about guaranteeing half the contract. I wanted them to kill it in the undrafted market. So I
They
was
normally do.
looking, huh?
They normally do. This group now, they always are finding 1 or 2 guys off of that group.
Yeah, no,
Be-
they find and develop 1 or 2 guys. They do, absolutely. But
Yeah,
I hope that the signings would be a little bit higher caliber, and it just wasn't for me. I'm just going to
how
be
do you know
honest.
that? You don't know that until we actually see these guys.
Yeah, I do know that. Yeah, you're right. You don't
Actually
know.
see Cater Kohu play before you judge Cater Kohu.
Yeah, but Cater Kohu, there was like a reason that justified why he was undrafted. Speed was off the charts, athleticism, the productivity, the toughness, all of that was there film wise. And Cater Kohu was one of their top undrafted players last year. Usually, their top undrafted guys are the ones who kind of excel. But then there's always a Tanner Connor who just comes out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh. But when I looked at the film, a lot of most of them did not have draft write-ups by the people that I respected, which means, and the people that I respect will do 400 draft write-ups. So I would probably say 5 of them had draft write-ups, which is not a great sign. None of them had outstanding 40 times or strong measure, strong bench press or good 3-cone. And some of them were just rotational players on mediocre teams, not even necessarily a star. I would hope that you're a star player on a mediocre team or a small school team. But with all that said, I just wanted a more impressive resume on the undrafted guys. I wanted the Dolphins to commit more guaranteed money and bigger signing bonus because they didn't have a rookie class. They did not do any of that. Which, hey, If that's your decision, I'm fine with it. But that indicates to me that you're going to go out and you're going to build your practice squad and the back end of your roster by poaching players, which is okay. That's okay. That's how.
I don't give a shit how you build a roster, bro.
Yeah, no, I don't either.
I don't care where you get a player. You know what I mean? You can get a Rondé Gadsden from the Portland Fire Dragons.
Yeah, maybe once XFL and USFL are finished, maybe they're going to go add 7 players from the USFL and the XFL when those seasons are done. Maybe. I don't know.
If they can contribute, it doesn't matter. Lifford Hobley came from the strike scabs. So, I've seen the Dolphins get guys from everywhere, Arena League, CFL, strike. I've seen it all. So to me, it doesn't matter where you get a goddamn player. Can he play? Can he help you? Okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, then bring him on, dude. Who cares?
All right. I don't disagree with you, but let me ask you about certain particular positions.
It's almost like you're complaining about something when you have nothing to complain about.
No. I don't have anything to complain about. But
you just spent 2 minutes on a diatribe of they need to spend more. They need not enough write-ups. Come on, bro.
I am scrutinizing the team, which is what I'm generally paid to do, which is what I'm known to do, and holding them to a standard of what my expectations.
Cover them. If they need scrutiny, you provide it.
This is the Dolphins. They haven't won a playoff game in 2 decades. You don't think they deserve scrutiny?
No, right now, but you don't blame them.
They have not won a playoff game in 2 decades.
The group that's here right now, you don't blame them for what happened 5, 10, 20 years ago. It's not their fault. You blame them for what goes on right now in the last couple of years, because that's what they're in control of. That's not fair. You sound like some of our listeners that are like, bitter people from the last 20 years of sucking football. And they're like, oh no, we suck again. It's like the water boy thing.
No.
Come on, bro. Let that go.
I don't begin like every new coach doesn't cleanse the palate and begin to re-evaluate. Hell no.
Yes, it's an extra sketch.
Hell no. Every new GM. Hell no.
You shake it and it's nice and blank. It's a blank canvas.
No. You can't. Not even the Brian Shore take.
You walk. You're like a Western. There's the guy. There's your coach. He's just hanging on the barber, just getting shit. And here you come in with guns a-blazing, pa 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 pa, and the poor guy's just getting there to shave. And here you are already firing bullets.
Hey, listen. You haven't won a playoff game in 2 decades.
Not their fault.
Yeah, it is. It's
fault.
It's Chris Greer's fault.
You don't blame
Tom Garfinkel's fault.
You don't blame Garfinkel for what's going on right now.
Yeah. He's a decision maker. You made bad decisions. Did he not? Did they not make bad decisions?
No, he did not. The stadium looks fantastic. They added the F1 race. They added
Garfinkel is more of a power player in football decisions than you want to let on.
The streets are exceptional. Garfinkel has done an impeccable job.
Okay, and he's also been influential in the hires, and you haven't gotten the hires right.
Garfinkel ain't coaching anybody, bro. I ain't blaming Garfinkel for football stuff.
Okay,
now, if the lights fixtures at the top of the stadium fall on somebody and kill them, then I'm ripping the shit out of Tom Garfinkel.
I hear exactly what you're saying, and I do not disagree.
Buddy, if the roof on the stadium collapses, I'm ripping your ass.
Has he not been responsible for the last 4 hires? Has he not been in those decision rooms, making rooms?
I don't think he's the football guy, bro. I don't look at him.
He's not the football guy, but he has a say. Everybody who has a say, you got to hold some accountability.
You just want to rip people. That's it.
No, I don't. I want to hold people accountable.
You're already killing Tom Garfinkel for no reason.
All right. Answer this question, since we're going to have this debate, and I'm going to be the bad guy. Since we're going to have this debate, and I'm going to be bad guy. Who is responsible for the Dolphins not winning a playoff game since 2000? 2001.
I'm not blaming the people that are here for
And
that
tell
right
me
now.
who's responsible.
Dave
Who is
Blundstad,
then?
Dave
Nobody
Blundstad,
is.
the late great Wayne Huizinga.
Wannstedt won a playoff game.
He destroyed a team. We had a great defense. They should have won a Super Bowl.
You haven't been back. You haven't been the equivalent of that team since.
Johnson destroyed Marino, Philbin, what's it called? Sperano, rest in peace.
And dig deeper. Who's responsible for all those hirings? Dig deeper. Who's responsible for all those hirings? The bad hires.
Huizinga and then Ross.
Okay. Huizinga hasn't hired anybody since Bill Parcells. That's his last hire ever.
And those were all bad. They didn't work out, unfortunately.
Okay. Somebody's responsible. Somebody.
Yeah, but I'm not living in the past.
Okay.
That's not what I'm doing here.
So what era are you living in?
You're out there and you're walking into the spoon.
You just begin. Life begins for you.
What happened in 2015 or 2000?
It all connects, bro. They keep making the same mistakes for 20 years. It's
Frank
done.
Smith has nothing to do with what happened.
You know how it all connects? Let me tell you how it all connects.
I'm not blaming Cater Kohu.
You're not listening. Let me tell you how it all connects.
20 years ago.
You're not listening. Let me tell you how it all connects. Okay? When you keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again, when's the last time you had a good line in 2 decades?
When was the last time they had the #1 rated quarterback? What mistakes are you talking about? You sound like some of these bitter ass Dolphin fans.
They got one good thing.
One the other day. Here's what I did to him, and I'm going to do it to you. Is this not the best Dolphins team they've had in over 20 years?
That's a good question. I got to look it up.
Is this not the best quarterback since Marino?
Yes.
Then what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about winning a playoff game, brother.
But it's kind of part of building process. You watch the team develop.
How many times we going to be building this process? With how many people?
Bro,
you reset every 3 years. You don't think nothing is wrong with that?
Stop living in the past. This roster here is the best
connects.
roster.
It connects. It all connects, brother. It all connects.
No, I'm not blaming Teron Armstead for shit that happened 10 years ago, bro. That's not how it goes.
Will you blame him for? Will you blame the organization for the fact that they signed and paid an injury-prone offensive tackle, and it's another mistake that they've done previously?
Omar, is this not the best team you've ever covered that's coming up right now?
I'm not willing to say that.
And what? Yeah, of course not, because you like to play both sides.
No. I haven't really thought about it. I haven't looked at it. Give me next Wednesday. I'll have the answers for you.
Omar, I've been around the Dolphins longer than you. I've never seen a wide receiving core like this. Okay, this is the best quarterback since Dan Marino. Okay? The only thing superior is the defense from the early 2000s, late 90s with Jason and Zach, because the front seven still has to get to that level.
Okay, but they finished 18th total defense, 27th in passing defense, and 24th in third downs. So you're going to tell me
now the back end is superior slightly by corners, because I'll give Madison and Surtain because they did a long time. So I'll give them the edge. But this group actually gets the edge because the safety makes the whole difference. This is the best secondary I've seen since, I don't know, you have to go back to the 70s. To Jake Scott and the boys. Okay. The team you're watching now is so superior to what you've covered in years. You have the most dynamic coach you have ever covered in a Dolphins team. Am I right or am I wrong?
Calm down. It was one season. Calm down. Calm down.
It's not one season.
You won the crown Brian Flores for one season.
He's been an X's and O's coach for a while. I'm talking about the offense, bro. This guy knows offense.
He proved it in one season. One season.
Have you seen the last 20 years?
Have a bigger body of work?
Have you watched the last 20 years? There was no creativity. Give it to Ronnie Brown, give it to Ricky Williams, or give it to Jay Ajayi.
They also didn't have Tyreek Hill, bro. They also didn't have Tyreek Hill, the best weapon that the NFL has seen in a decade.
For 20 years, the only time the Dolphins had what you would call something dynamic was when they had a running back, because the quarterback and the receivers weren't dynamic. So this is the first time that you're actually going to have everything and anything. You have a really good running game if they actually stick to it, because they went 4.5 yards to carry. You added more speed to this running game. You have a great receiving core right
And
now.
you did what?
You got a defense. You got a defense that has all the talent to be really, really good this year.
I finished 24th last year.
You got to drop this pass shit, dude. You got to drop all that shit.
No, I know I don't. No, I don't. And you're making a mistake. You cleanse the palate.
It stains your coverage because you're blaming people for something that they have nothing to do with.
Yeah, I do, because they make the same mistakes over and over again. Because I'm tired of collateral loss as an organization. I'm tired of decisions to not pay people and let people graduate from your program. They make the same mistakes over and over again every 4-year cycle, and you just sit here and cleanse it because it's a new coach and he had a magical season.
Who's
they were 9 and 8.
Who's getting away now that they didn't pay? Who? I'm sorry.
Christian Wilkins is probably going to be free.
No, he's not.
Bro, look
out of here, dude. First of all, what ifs doesn't fucking count here in this argument. You said they're letting people go. Who's been let go the last couple of years here? Who?
It's going to happen. They haven't re-signed. Let me answer the question. You wouldn't let me answer the question. You wouldn't let me answer the question. You wouldn't let me answer the question. They have not re-signed a defensive lineman they drafted since Paul Soliai. Have not re-signed a defensive lineman they've drafted since Paul Soliai back in 2008, bro.
They didn't re-sign Agba? I thought he played on the D-line.
They drafted. Re-signed a defensive lineman they drafted.
When has it come up in the last 2 years?
A lot
with
of
these
times.
Guys, 3 years.
Now,
3 years.
Right? With these guys. Everything gets excused because of these guys. They just got here. So
I'm not living in the past, bro. I'm not living in the past.
Been here for 20 years, bro. 20 years.
And he wasn't in charge.
And he had a hand in saying whether they re-signed Olivier Vernon or didn't.
And it's not on him. That's on the people that were in charge, not on him. You continue to bring up shit from the past.
Because it keeps repeating itself.
No, it doesn't.
If you keep making the same mistakes over and over again for 2 decades, I cannot ignore it. You keep never having quarterback competition. I cannot ignore it. You keep never addressing your offensive line issues. I cannot ignore it.
Bro, who's going to give to a competition? What are you talking about? What are you going to bring in that's going to give to a competition? He's the #1 rated quarterback in the NFL.
He's also fragile, and your season goes to shit when something happens to him.
Is Mahomes available so we can bring him in and give him competition?
He's a #1 rated quarterback. And honest answer: does the season go to shit if Tua suffers another concussion? Yes or no?
Of course.
Okay. How about you go draft Hawker?
But I'm not stupid enough to think that Teddy Bridgewater is going to bail him out like many others did last year.
Teddy can play. Teddy didn't stay healthy.
Oh, no. But let's pick on Tua for not staying healthy.
Touche.
Yeah, you'll go get a lot of touches here. Yeah,
touche. Well played. Listen, it happens, man. I mean, every time somebody touched Teddy, he broke a thumb or cut. Yeah, it is what it is. You know what I didn't know? I didn't know that the Steelers quarterback suffered 2 concussions last year too.
Yeah.
Why are people not talking about him being fragile?
Why aren't you following it? Because we talked about it here that Pickett had
a couple. No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and the receiver for the Bengals leading into one of those games, he had 2 concussions in 3 weeks. Nobody talked about it either.
Which receiver you talking about? Which receiver?
Well, was it Boyd? I think it was. One of the Cincinnati receivers going into that matchup, he had 2 concussions within a few weeks, and nobody
Bro.
talked about it either. You know what I mean? It's the same. It's all bullshit, dude.
Like
Like Sidney Crosby is working on a Hall of Fame hockey career, won the Stanley Cup and everything, and he's had like 8 concussions, bro. He's had like 8 of them, and he plays hockey, which is an absolutely contact sport. No matter what position you play, you're going to face contact in hockey. You're going to get thrown right into the boards constantly in hockey. Absolutely. And the guy has 8 concussions, but the Lewinsky guy said, the former player and concussion expert, he says the key is giving it rest in between concussions. You have to let the brain rest and recover. Then you can move on and you can have less issues with it.
So when Tua suffers a concussion, he'll be sidelined 6 weeks, right?
Well, not 6 weeks, but you do have to sideline anybody with a concussion, not just Tua. Anybody, you have to sideline them for a couple of weeks and give them time for their brain to heal. What you can't do is what happened with Buffalo and Cincinnati. That's what can't happen. You can't allow that to happen. That's
my question is, and I continue to sit on this question. If we are clearly not aligned in our thought process. If the
you're in the past. I'm in the present.
Yeah, you're in the present. See, but that's dangerous because you're every time they cleanse and reset, which this organization resets every 3 years. You just
clean
the slate.
I know, bro. I know. I mean, I'm so used to seeing them play Buffalo so close 3 times and almost beat them with a depleted roster in the playoffs. I know that happens.
Buffalo always kicks their ass.
That happens all the time here. It's not like they always.
First time they were competitive, Buffalo always kicks their ass.
Before Mike McDaniel, they would lose by 20 or 30 points. The fact that this year they could have won all 3 matchups. Yeah, I know.
I don't agree with you there.
I know the way they played Buffalo this year. That's how they play Buffalo all the time. Yeah,
we'll see. Buffalo's coming back to the pack.
Hey, Omar, I'm so used to my quarterback bringing my team back from 21 down on the road. Yeah, no, I know it happened. Yeah, the same things are happening that always happen here. We always have a quarterback that's the number 1 rated quarterback in the NFL. Yeah, no, I know. You're right.
You've had quarterback issues and bad decisions regarding your quarterbacks, whether it be medical or not.
The past.
The past keeps repeating itself here, Big O. You won't acknowledge it.
Are you rolling with Tua or are you rolling with Tannehill and all the other clowns that have been here?
Listen, we could be sitting here at what was that season that Tua Tannehill decided he didn't want to have surgery and then comes out and tears his ACL. But what I'm telling you is, bro, I've been covering this team for 15 years. You've been here longer, but history keeps repeating itself over and over and over again.
I disagree. I see a franchise.
This season reminds me of the year. It was a Tannenbaum year where they knew their line was not good enough. Absolutely knew it. Did not have any doubts about it, but said, you know what? Let's give it a try. Let's see what happens with Dallas Thomas. And let's see what happens with Billy Turner. Let's see what happens with Jamil Douglas. Let's give it a chance.
Shot. I've never felt this in over 20 years. I've never felt this. I think this line is going to be definitely the best team I've seen in a Dolphins uniform in well over 20 years. Most well-rounded team. I completely disagree with you. I see a franchise ascending is what I see. So, you, on the other hand, are living in the past and thinking it's the same old. And I think Mike McDaniel runs circles around most of the coaches that have been here, including Jimmy Johnson. By the way,
I will give you a clean slate. You produce a.
Don't give me a clean slate. Give Teron Armstead and Chris Greer and Tua Tagovailoa. Give them a clean slate. Give Tyreek Hill a clean slate. They don't need to carry the burdens from 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. That's not their fault, dude. Blame them if they lose this year, if they don't get it done.
I will give them a clean slate. I will start the clock all over again when
But you can't bring in the pain from the past, bro. That's not their fault. You can't do that, bro.
That's my pain. That's your pain. That's the fans' pain.
That's fine, but you got to compartmentalize, bro. You have to do that. You have to compartmentalize. You can't blame them for
Dolphin
that.
fans are like I forget, a battered wife syndrome. I'm sorry.
Okay, I not necessarily the best analogy, but I understand your point. I get it. Yes.
I cannot clean the slate. He's not a new man. I'm sorry.
I get it, but they deserve these guys
He
deserve
went to counseling, so he deserves a second chance. He deserves a new slate.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Bro.
Yeah, it's like you washed their entire memory out and you started anew. And that's what you need to.
You're bigger than me, bro. You're bigger than me because I can't do that. I cannot do that.
I can't blame Mike McDaniel. I'm going to blame Mike McDaniel for not running the ball more against Green Bay. Okay, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to blame Mike McDaniel for something that happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago when he has no control over that. That's not fair to that man. That's not fair to any of those guys that are out there. Tyreek Hill is busting his ass every week, and so is Jalen Phillips and all that. And I'm not going to blame them for shit that happened 5, 10, 20 years ago. My frustrations from past Dolphin years, I can't lay that on the ground on them. I'm happy with this team that I saw progress. I saw them fight through all this adversity this year and still somehow make the playoffs. And, dude, they scared the shit out of Buffalo in that first round. And then to me, the way they played Buffalo all 3 times, they literally could have won all 3 of those games. I see a team that is improving and a football franchise that's headed in the right direction. You may not, but I do.
I didn't say I didn't see a football franchise heading in the right direction. I'm at the point, give me 10 wins, give me a victory in the postseason. If you're not there, we're still the same place we've been for the last 20 years.
Well, thank you, Mr. Obvious. I appreciate that. I know
that's what I'm saying. If we're still the same place, we're still in the same residence.
No. There's a difference. I think they're moving ahead of time. I'm out on a limb. You are not. Well, no, I'm not saying that. But if they win 10 games,
I said to you, I will clean the slate. I will clean the slate, and I will let go of everything that's happened for 20 years if you get to 10 wins and win a playoff game. Until then, I'm still expecting you to beat me. I'm still in this battered wife syndrome. I can't let it go. I can't. 9 and 8. What's the difference between 9 and 8 and 7 and 9?
When they win the division this year, you'll be convinced. All right. So what do you got going on Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out?
I'm right now in the process of right now we got offensive and defensive thorough breakdowns of your team so that you can sit and argue with Big O about whether or not the unit has improved. I would make the argument that every unit offensively, except for tight end and offensive line, has improved. But those are two pretty big units that have not improved.
Okay.
Right. And defensively, I think they still have holes. I think they still need a linebacker. I'm not very comfortable or happy with where they are at safety. And defensive line, I would argue to you that they still need to add a player. Okay. So if you take a look at those breakdowns, you will see, hey, this team still needs about 3 players defensively. Now, clearly it needs a 5 players. Offensive lineman, you need a tight end upgrade or addition, and you need a linebacker. You need a defensive tackle, and you need another safety. I'm not comfortable with where they are at safety.
Strong safety.
Yes, unless they plan to convert somebody to, maybe move Noah to safety, which I don't know how I feel about that.
So 5 years ago, 10 years ago, did you say the Dolphins were like 3 players away?
5 players away. I really liked where they were roster-wise last year, and I probably was a mistake, probably was a over-evaluation, but I really liked it.
They just had a bunch of injuries. You would have been right.
But if you had, I liked where they were depth-wise, And then you had a bunch of injuries, and those injuries didn't help. Those players didn't help you overcome those injuries. So,
bro, you had like 6 DBs get injured. You injured your depth also.
yeah.
The Dolphins had to roll out Noah Igbenogany. He's like a 4-stringer, bro.
Hey man,
Like
me and you we both love Noah in the draft process. Let's not push it.
Noah Igbenogany is on the team. It's because he carries the Salvation Army can. That's it. That's the only reason he's there.
I'm not going to disrespect Noah. I will talk about him performance-wise. Maybe a move to safety might work. Why not?
But you disrespect Tom Garfinkel.
Huh?
But not Noah Igbenogany. Really? Tom Garfinkel.
No.
The man that has made that place just a beautiful sight.
Now, if you ask me who's done the best job as a Dolphins organization, I would without a doubt say Tom Garfinkel. However,
first-class badass. Okay?
You're absolutely right. He
had 53 players like Tom Garfinkel, we would have 53 championships in a row.
He's also been in the room for the hiring of Joe Philbin, Adam Gase, Brian Flores, and now Mike Tannenbaum.
For what coaches and general managers are paid to do, bro. I'm not blaming him. He does his job, okay? As president, he does an excellent job. All right, what do you got going on with Sports Illustrated so folks can check you out? Tell them again.
The depth charts. Right now, I'm doing a breakdown of the top 10 newcomers on the Dolphins, and kind of assessing what their role and impact should be. So, I'm trying to figure out how many years has Vic Fangio led a top 10 defense in the NFL, which is harder to find than I actually thought it would be.
All right, there you go. Follow him on Twitter at Omar Kelly. And tweet out to him to stop living in the goddamn past, okay?
Hey, if you follow me, you know how I roll, bro. I live in trauma. I do. I can't let it go. You get prepared.
Go relax, get in a better mood, listen to Casey and the Sunshine Band, all right? Just chill out there. All right, bro. Later. There you go. Omar Kelly, baby. And call Sean Williams and the great people at Essential Moving Experts wherever you're at in the country. It doesn't matter. They can handle it. Home, office, whatever it is you need to move. 386-213-4054. Call the great people, essentialmovingexperts.com. 386-213-4054.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.